seen like the Bloodline story has been going on for 200 years now, so that's another thing you can't escape.
All right, so let's talk about that real quick. How do you feel about the Bloodline storyline?
It's ran its course, in my opinion.
Thank you. We agree on something.
And I loved it from when it started, and all the different story arcs. It was great.
We were still podcasting when it started.
Yeah, so it was great. It was great, but then I think the final straw was like Roman still winning at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And just to add a nudge in is him winning still against Jay.
Yes. Yeah, that too. At SummerSlam, right? That's where we had face. Yeah, because then it would have been like, yo, how it started.
How I've been protesting for. This is what I wanted.
It to end with Jay winning the title, and the thing is, just for Jay to be in another tag team with Cody when
the
Cody
two people that he beat.
When Cody should be like at minimum some type of heavyweight champion,
right?
So it's ran its course in the fact, like, listen, I'm gonna always be a Roman fan, but the fact that now he's not even on the shows.
Yeah, so apparently he hasn't been that consistent in shows for like the past year and some change. Like since we stopped podcasting.
Right. I know he was on this past episode of SmackDown, but it's just like what I don't understand hijacking titles. This was when we were podcasting. This is what was my issue when Brock was champion. Yep. And I used to go back and forth with you. I'm like, I don't see how this is beneficial to the product. And I get it. At this point, you've built Roman up to like such high, levels. So you need a formidable opponent to knock him down and knock him off. But
who is it?
It wasn't Cody, right? It wasn't Jay. There's no one that would make sense to knock him off.
So you don't think LA Knight is the one?
The Rock, but The Rock is not, The Rock ain't gonna be on WWE programming every week or every month for that matter.
Right.
And it's like, okay, who beats The Rock? So it's just you wrote yourself in a hole with this whole Bloodline story that I don't know where they can go at this point. And again, just all of that, just for you to put Jay in a tag team with Cody.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy kind of being like tag team with Solo.
And so this is my thing. Again, when this whole started, this is the first time I probably ever gave Roman any kind of accolades on this show. This is a great start. This is great. Let's see how it goes. It should end with Jay beating Roman for the title. When we had this discussion, never in my wildest dreams did I think that this storyline would be going on for 3 years. And then for it to be a storyline where he retains his title the same way every single time. Shoot, the match between him and Cody and the match between him and Jay are basically identical. So you're telling me that through all of this, Adam Pearce, who was the person of authority, never set up a rule where this can't happen again, where it's just the same thing over and over again to the point where he's holding the title for over 1,000 days. Like, to me, it's like, okay, suspend your disbelief or whatever the case may be, but how long can this still go on? Right? Like, with the Cody situation, everybody's like, all right, Cody's going to win. He came back. Redemption. Everybody was for it. You threw a curveball. All right, let's see what happens. I don't think this is a good idea, but let's see what happens. And then you brought in Jay as a formidable opponent for him. You set the rules where nobody's allowed to get involved because it was head of the table. I forgot what they called it. Family battle where nobody could get involved. But then everybody got involved. So what was the point of pushing that?
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. I'm like, this is why I can't get into this product, because y'all do things like this. And it's just, I don't know. Like you said, the Bloodline has reached its storyline. I get it. They tried to revisit it this past week on SmackDown with Cody staring down Roman at the ramp. And it was just like, why are we doing this again? It feels like when we used to get the Roman versus Brock every 3-6 months. This is exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. Again, I'm always gonna be a Roman fan, but not like this, where he's not on every week. What's I don't understand the point of it, because again, cool. If this was the situation and he's hijacking the title, who are you building up in the meantime? This is we've been saying this for how long? We've been doing this podcast for 4 years.
5. This would be 5 years if we didn't take that year off, but
So
5 years altogether.
We've been doing this for 5 years, and I've been saying this from day one. Back in the day, during the Attitude Era, and what have you, how did you build up main event
People
wrestling,
to step up. Yep.
right? You started them out with the mid card. After the mid card picture, and then they will move up. So now it wasn't just Rock and Austin. It was The Rock. It was Austin. It was
Taker.
It
Triple
was
H.
Triple H. It was Kurt Angle. It was Kane. You had
Batista, RKO, like, you know what I'm saying, Randy Orton,
Batista, Brock, John Cena. You had all
Kurt Angle.
There was people next in line. So at any point, shit, Eddie Guerrero.
I'm about to say Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio,
Rey Mysterio. A name that people don't like to mention, but it's part of WWE history. Chris Benoit. All these different.
Right.
They started out in the mid card, and then they found a way
special
to become a heavyweight holder, championship holder. There's no one currently in WWE that seems like they're fit to take the title. Yeah, you have Seth, but Seth already has his title. You have Cody, but you're not really putting him in that picture.
That's hanging up for WrestleMania 40.
Gunther is killing it. Gunther is always going to be fire, but he's another one that's held this Intercontinental title for 200 years. So who's next up? Then you have Rey Mysterio holding the U.S. title, but it's like, no shade to Rey, but there's younger people ready to take the reins, and we're not, no pun intended, but they're not doing anything with it.
Right.
So that's my only thing. Like, how are we keeping the line moving? And that's not what WWE is doing in regards to this heavyweight title picture.
And you mentioned Seth Rollins, and it was to the point where they had to create a title,
right,
essentially to give to Seth, not give to Seth Rollins, but like have for Seth Rollins to capture. And then even when the title was announced, Seth downplayed the title in interviews. The same thing with, if I'm not mistaken, AJ Styles did the same thing. It's like, so now we have to create a whole nother title because this other title is being held hostage on another show. Mm-hmm. So what kind of prestige does this title have? And to Seth's credit, he's been building that title up to give it the credibility that is needed. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it has some good competitors. And then this past Friday, we did announce that Kevin Owens got traded to SmackDown. I'm like, so Kevin Owens is never going to get the title now? Like, that's somebody that should have had the title 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So again, I don't know what their plan is. WWE has a way of constantly like writing themselves in a hole or a box.
Right.
And it's then when they finally get out of it, it just doesn't seem right.